Hello friends, see you again in our 2021's movie collection, A Dog Named Palma. Alright, before we start the story of this movie, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss the updates from our channel. The movie starts in 1977, where a man and his dog are at the airport and going to board. Unfortunately, his dog cannot board because she has otitis. The man then leaves the dog there while he boards alone. When the security of the airport is going to catch her, Palma runs and hides in the place of Sergey, a flight engineer. Meanwhile, a plane is going to land on the runway. Palma runs to the plane, thinking that it is her owner's plane. Because she's on the runway, the plane has to fly again, and this becomes a problem for the pilot. The pilot brings along his son, a kid named Kalia, on this flight. When his father still takes care of letters about the previous disturbance, Kalia gets out of the plane. Palma is going to be shot by the security. Sergey tries to reason with him, and while he's doing that, Kalia tries to save the dog. When the dog runs away, the security is enraged, and he wants to punish the kid. At this time his father comes and brings the child away. At the office, the pilot was scolded by his superior. He also gets angry at his superior because of his problem with his son. He just gets his son back from the mother. So they're not that close yet. At Sergey's garage, the dog is back with the ball left by her owner. He then makes the place for the dog and leaves the garage. Meanwhile, Kalia also follows his father home, yet they still don't get along with each other. When his father is asleep, Kalia runs from home. He wants to get back where he comes from. He tries to buy the ticket, but people won't let him buy it without his parents. He tries to get on the plane without a ticket, but Palma, who sees him, barks non-stop. It then alarms the security, who tries to look for Kalia. When they are running from the authorities, Palma shows him her hideout. In the morning, Lazarev, Kalia's father, is reporting to police about him missing. He then receives a phone call from Sergey, the old man who keeps Palma at the garage. Kalia is sleeping with Palma. Lazarev is scolding Kalia, and Palma, who sees all this, is barking at Lazarev. Finally, Lazarev leaves Kalia with Sergey because he has a flight to catch. Sergey cooks food for Kalia and says that Palma doesn't mean to obstruct his purpose. She just wants to save him from taking a flight in the wheels compartment. At this time, Nina comes. Nina is Sergey's daughter, also the airport official. She's scolding Sergey because he's having an unhealthy drink. Kalia, who sees all of this, looks nostalgic. Then, IL-18, a plane that Palma's owner rides before, is landing. Palma always runs to the runway when she hears this plane land. She only welcomes this one plane and no other. It means she remembers the sound of the plane. Nina, who works when the owner leaves Palma, says to Kalia that Palma is her name. And the owner leaves her for the flight. Kalia then stands beside Palma. He feels connected because they both are left by their loved ones. Kalia tries to ask for the registration details about Palma's owner. He gives the name Polsky, but she can't process that without an official order. Then, a security officer takes Kalia away. Meanwhile, Palma is waiting for passengers to get off the plane like usual. She then sees a man wearing the same style of clothes as her owner. She tries to get to the man, but security officers are catching her up. When Palma gets near the man and sees his face, she sees that he's not her owner. The security catches up to her, and when they're going to catch her, Kalia, who's at the same place, helps Palma. He tells Palma to run. Palma's antics are causing a ruckus at the waiting lounge. Kalia then takes hold of Palma and they hide together. At this time, the administration worker that Kalia asked previously comes and gives him the address he wants. She also gives him directions to run away. Lazarev is talking to his friends about his first overseas flight that's going to be Praha. But he gets called again to the office this time. The superior is angry for what Kalia and Palma have done. She even threatens Lazarev with his promotion. He has to solve the problem or he will lose his first overseas flight. Kalia is writing the letter for Palma's owner. When he's going to send it, his father calls him. Then the security comes with an animal control officer's truck to bring Palma away. They catch Palma, and Lazarev is holding his son down so that he can't save Palma. They finally catch Palma. Nina and Sergey are annoyed at Lazarev for letting all this happen, so that Kolya. At Lazarev's house, Kolya is having an argument with Lazarev. Kolya doesn't want to live with Lazarev and asks to be sent to a children's home. Lazarev agrees to look for it tomorrow. Lazarev then gets in his car and reads the letter that Kolya wants to send to Polsky, Palma's owner. After reading, he then sees Kolya run out of the house again and follows him. He tells Kolya to get in the car, but he doesn't want to. When he says that they're going to get Palma back, he then agrees. But Palma has already run away from the dog shelter. Kolya says that he might know where Palma is. Nina, who is also there for Palma, goes together with them. When they're getting to Sergey's garage, they cannot find Palma. But then they hear the sounds of planes, and that might be where Palma is. Kolya still cannot find Palma there, and when he asks the flight attendant, she scolds him. Sergey, who's fixing the plane, hears the ruckus, and he goes there. Sergey says to the flight attendant not to report. Lazarev then comes to calm him down. Then Sergey calls Kolya because he sees Palma is back. Lazarev then promises Kolya that they are going to find Palma's owner. Lazarev gets a journalist to get Palma's news on the last page so that his superiors won't see it. But the journalist prints it on the first page, so Palma's news is a hot one. The superior then reprimands Lazarev again and fires him. When he wants to say something, a call comes in. Because Palma news is famous, a politician comes with journalists to cover the story. Even Lazarev gets his job back. People start to pay extra attention to Palma. People who get off the IL-18 flight are not condemning Palma anymore because they have seen her in the newspaper. Some even take pictures with her and also ask about her condition to the airport staff. The season comes and goes, but Palma's owner still does not appear. At this time, Kolya and Lazarev get close to each other. He even encourages Lazarev to make Nina his wife. Palma still cannot find her owner. She starts to lose hope and doesn't wait for the flight anymore. The doctor diagnoses her with arrhythmia and says that she might not make it tonight. In her sleep, Palma hears her owner call her Alma. That's her real name. At that time, Nina doesn't hear clearly and thinks that it's Palma. But that's not real, it's just a dream. At night, it's raining. Kolya comes to Palma's kennel and says that he will bring her home. He cries and says that Palma's owner is still alive while his mother is dead. He takes off the sweater his mother knitted for him and never lets go, then gives it to Palma. In the morning, Palma wakes Kolya up. She wants to go home with him. In Lazarev's home, they gather together with Nina and Sergey. They look like a family. At this time, there's a phone call that says that Palma's owner is going to take her back. She's going to go with Lazarev's first flight after promotion. Kolya disagrees at first. He says that Palma is his dog. Lazarev then says that he should let Palma go if he loves her. He also apologizes to Kolya for his decision to leave Kolya and his mother. He says even if there's no Palma, Kolya still has him. This makes Kolya believe him and wants to let go of Palma. Finally, Alma meets her owner. She goes back to him while Kolya leaves her there. Lazarev, who sees this, tries to talk to Polsky. Polsky says that he doesn't really want the dog, but he gets pressure from Lisko, the politician, to get the dog back. Even when Lazarev wants to pay for it, he still can't. On the flight, Palma doesn't really want to go. She stares at Kolya, but Kolya can't do anything about it. Palma also doesn't want to get on the flight, but because of journalists present, Polsky has to try to force her. Finally, Palma pulls the dog leash and tries to get into Kolya's embrace. But people there hold them up. Kolya screams for his papa, and that is his first time calling Lazarev papa. They then get Palma on the plane, while Sergey and Nina calm Kolya down. Lazarev makes a hard decision. He says he can't fly with the plane. His superior, Lyubov, then says that he will lose his license as a pilot, but he still insists. His crews also try to help him by saying that the dog can't get on board without a health license. Even Lyubov tries to help him. Palma then sees Polsky with her big eyes. He can't do this to her, so he removes the dog leash. He tells her to go to the kid. And even changes the way to address her to Palma. Then Palma goes to Kalia, and everyone watches this happily. And that is the end of A Dog Named Palma movie. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell to keep the updates from our channel. See you in the other movie story and bye.